Hello, everybody, and welcome to our exclusive big interview session with Max Lakkonen, the chairman of the Scientific Council for the International Water Mist Association. Max, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today to talk a little bit more about water mist technology. To start, could you just tell us a bit about your background and the history of the IWMA and its core mission?
All right. Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. Actually, my history within fire protection actually started over 20 years ago, and I was quite a long time in academia, and then moved to private sector, and I was actually doing the research academia with the high pressure water hydraulics, which was then an easy link to high pressure water mist firefighting. So I worked first within the manufacturing company, and then over 10 years now within the consultancy and fire testing side. And within IWMA activities, I personally have been over 15 years or 18 years, so quite a long time. So I know very well the industry and the association.
No, definitely, and obviously with such a kind of an in-depth background with, like you said, academia, it's only perfectly placed that you're with the scientific council, and obviously you're chairman of that council. So I'm interested to know, how do you help IWMA kind of guide its research or its technological advancements?
Yeah, well, obviously, I think IWMA first of all represents the whole industry. So it has all the members are coming from the manufacturers, from the insurers, from the test labs, and I mean basically various different organizations which have a common theme of water mist firefighting. And the scientific council members are only coming from test labs, academia, and we are a kind of organization who tried to guide the industry that the best practices are done, and also that if in case that there are disputes or whatsoever, so we are trying to solve those. So kind of saying we are judges, but we are giving guidance, and yeah, we are really in the core in that sense. So
Well, it's definitely working, because any manufacturer or anybody I talk to about water mist who uses it in their applications, in their products, are an IWMA member. So it's definitely working what you're doing, which is fantastic. And on to the actual kind of technological side. Obviously, water mist technology is a very innovative fire protection method, because of its application as opposed to its kind of agent. But can you explain just for us some of the key benefits compared to more kind of traditional fire suppression systems?
yeah, obviously, I think water mist systems, that's definitely a very innovative way to apply water in the form of very small droplets. And I'm personally very interested. I'm a kind of big fan of water mist technology because it's really clever way, and among all the firefighting agents, it has the highest cooling capability, and it really is extremely effective considering the water amount which is used. So and if you're looking to application, so it suits very well even to the field that where normally different gas systems are utilized, or it goes to applications like road tunnels where very high flow rates, very big fires. So the applicability is also super high.
Mhm. Definitely. So not only is it flexible and sustainable, but also could you just clarify, when you said that its use of water in the droplets is actually sometimes in some applications more effective. Why is that? Is that because of evaporation? Is that because of the ability to actually maintain and not damage with water a lot of buildings, for example, and its interiors?
Yeah, correct. That's the thing. So, and because with the small droplets, you will actually create huge surface area, which will then enable the evaporation. And when water is being evaporated, it actually absorbs huge amount of energy. That's the key benefit of water mist. Secondly, it also creates, when being evaporated, it will expand in volume, so it will block the access of the oxygen into the combustion process. So it's a kind of second effect what it does. And since it's doing this with a very limited amount of water, it really very well for the heritage buildings, and nowadays even with the normal buildings, the water consumption is a huge topic. So nowadays actually water mist technology has been also claimed as the most eco-friendly technology within the fire protection. So yeah, I in that sense there's a very positive effect, especially for this time of the history.
Definitely. And also I've heard that because obviously it's a mist rather than like, you know, a hose stream or something like that, or a sprinkler system, when it comes to actual firefighting itself, if you're evacuating people at the same time as trying to reduce fire, you know, water mist is you can walk through water mist, for example, and there's no kind of damage to people as well. So that's also, you know, a great benefit as well when it comes to firefighters. You don't want to walk through a hose line, but yeah, you can walk through water mist. And just onto the kind of regulation side of it a little bit, you know, safety standards and regulations always play, you know, a very crucial role when it comes to adopting, you know, new technologies. Not the water mist is new, but it's new in terms of its adoption. But how is the IWMA working to influence those kind of policies and regulatory frameworks for these types of systems?
Obviously, IWMA is participating through their members to different standard committees, different associations, promoting the knowledge, promoting also the good practices that which should be then adopted to the standards. Unfortunately, I'm actually also in quite a few standard committees, and unfortunately the standards are very slow moving, and especially now comparing that many other, let's say, technologies are developing so quickly. So standards, they have difficulties to respond to this development. But definitely water mist, since you mentioned that it's small droplets and it's very light, but I have to come back to that and say that water mist is not just one type. So if we are looking to applications like data centers or computer rooms, so obviously then we are having very fine light mist. But if we are looking to, again, for example, road tunnels or you know, railroad decks or whatsoever, so then obviously it's much heavier mist, and it's you know, because of the airstream. So it's only not one type of mist, but everything what you said, that you can walk through it safe, in that sense, that applies. But there's not just one mist type, but it really depends on the application. So.
And then that's referencing back to that kind of flexibility that you mentioned earlier. So, you know, it's very key when it comes to putting kind of new technology, new applications into market. And just to hover a little bit on this kind of the regulatory side, you know, you spoke a little bit about kind of the committees that you're on as well to help trying to adopt better standards for water mist technology. But how does the IWMA kind of foster this collaboration, whether it's between academia, industry, regulatory bodies, to kind of advance water mist systems and its adoption in the market?
We organize training sessions. We are doing publications to promote best practices. Currently, we are preparing a kind of position paper regarding the CFD simulations. But since we see that in fire protection, CFD is becoming a kind of validation method, but sometimes bad practices are also used. So it's actually coming from different directions. So we are also influencing within the standards, but we want to create the general knowledge. And one very important thing is, for example, IWMA conference, where the whole industry is coming, where we are also delivering presentations, and this is the way we work.
Definitely. And just to pause for a second on the conference, obviously, as you said, IWMA organises an annual conference. And one of the presentations from your October conference, actually, you actually delivered for us today at Fireby Live as well. But what are some of the main objectives of this conference, or what can attendees expect if they're to attend?
Actually, the attendees, they really come from various different sectors. So I think the key manufacturers, they all are there, but then there are insurance companies, there are some of the installers, academic organizations, research labs. I mean, basically everybody are there, and it's a bit like a family kind of event as well. So once in a year we meet and having good time, same time when delivering the presentations and what we have developed during the year. So yeah, that's how it is.
Definitely. Well, I look forward to attending this year, hopefully. But and just to kind of go back to obviously what we were talking about, could you share some examples of significant advancements in water mist technology? Whether it's IWMA or whether it's from its members. We already spoke about kind of it being used in situations like ARF or firefighting, but it's also being used a lot in kind of electric vehicles. Maybe you can expand on this a little bit.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I would jump back first that water mist is often considered as a new technology, as an innovative. Yes, it is, but often it's also related somehow to new. But it has really existed already very long time.
50 years or something, isn't it?
Yeah, 30 years,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
in
30 years.
certain markets, it's really having almost 100% market share. So it really is very well established. But what's been very common for water mist industry is that it has to all the time prove the efficiency or validate the efficiency, and therefore it's being used to do, or the industry has used to do a lot of fire tests, and now we are having a lot of new hazards. And since you mentioned electric vehicles, but the lithium-ion batteries, actually they are coming in many different applications. So production, end of life, recycling, and everything between. And for example, the water mist industry has been very, very active, and a number of different test programs have been done and then also published. So that could be one good example. But also traditionally, with all the flammable liquid fires, machinery, spaces, I mean, water mist is excellent for that.
Definitely, and you're right of pointing out that it's very easy to get swept up in electric vehicles, because in terms of the lithium-ion battery, that probably has one of the biggest and most common kind of risk factors when you think about an underground car park or a roadside collision or anything like that. But actually, lithium-ion batteries being used in electric scooters or wheelchairs, and those being brought into apartment blocks or multi-occupancy buildings, and then you're not just dealing with a scooter fire, you're dealing with a whole apartment fire and whole building fire. So it can very rapidly transition. So it's great to see that water mist is being very extensively used in that area, and hopefully can help contribute towards that kind of solution for us battling this lithium-ion battery. At the moment, I'm sure we'll look back in 10 years and go, why were we all just scratching our heads about how we can prevent stop thermal runaway when it's already started. At the moment, we're focusing on the prevention. It's great to see, and it's definitely been, and even in my experience in the past couple of years or so, all the manufacturers are starting to adopt it more so. And like I said, it's not a new technology, but it's difficult to rely or adopt a type of technology where the standards are lacking or are slightly behind, like you've explained. And just on that kind of topic, the fire industry can be quite notoriously slow to change, obviously, because of the nature of the industry. And water mist hasn't been as adopted as it perhaps should be, although it is widely accepted in a lot of areas. But why do you think there are some of these misconceptions?
Well, I think there are many different reasons, and one of the I'll give a bit of the fault for the industry as well. That fire protection in general is very slow moving, and it has to do with the standard. It has to do also with the attitude, and that's, I think, it also has killed a lot of the innovations. So probably also getting the, young engineers, they rather go to work with the automobile industry or with aviation rather than fire protection. So it's a kind of self-made problem. And what we need to do in future, we need to improve, and we need to utilize the new tools like what I've been promoting a lot, performance-based design, which allow looking large variety of solutions for our problems. And at the moment, the world is changing so quickly that we're getting new hazards. And even lithium-ion batteries, we started with the totally different energy densities, 10 years ago, than now we are having. So many things are changing, and I think that's the challenge for our industry in a global meaning. I mean, the whole fire industry, not just water mist industry specific. So.
Definitely. And it's difficult because we're living in a world where we have these technologies now, and perhaps we shouldn't have quite released or widespread these adoptions before we had the solutions we needed for any risks. But fundamentally, we already have these technologies; they're already in use. Where government is trying to promote electric vehicles and all of that side of things. So it's about focusing on, like you said, the prevention and the solution to those issues now, and try and upscale that adoption, upscale those standards, collaborate between industries, peers, and get that message out there, get that best practice out there, and exactly what you guys are doing. So it's a privilege to be able to talk about this. And just in terms of obviously anyone watching today who might be, whether they're a business owner or they're a manufacturer, who might be looking to introduce water mist technology into their products or into their businesses, what would you advise that they start with?
Yeah, I think I would just probably go first to IWMA webpage, and that's a good basic information about the material. But I would really encourage to give a chance for this new technology in terms of different applications, how it's suitable for many things. It has really a long track record already with the application. So in that sense, and also when looking for the future challenges, how quickly the world is changing, the new hazards. So it really fits the many of the applications, and secondly, it's also very much eco-friendly, which is also another important topic nowadays. So.
Definitely, I think the sustainability agenda of kind of all industries should hopefully start pushing these types of technologies into focus, because it's an ethos and a value that all businesses are trying to uphold when it comes to sustainability measures. But we need to make sure that, yes, obviously sustainability is key and fantastic. You need to make sure that it's still fire safe, whether that's the materials that you're using in building or the construction. But yeah, if we can start implementing technologies that are also more sustainable, using less water, especially, when you think of an international scale, it's very easy to think of kind of, the US or the kind of European market, where typically water isn't as lacking as it is in other areas. Other regions of the world don't have the luxury of being able to use vast water. So its adoption internationally, I'm sure we'll see we'll see increasing a lot over the next couple of years or so. But looking towards the future, on that note, what are some of the key challenges, as well as the opportunities that you see kind of changing the fire industry?
Well, I think it has to do definitely with the standards. I think we have to be way quicker. We have to open our mind to new innovations. And I'm not saying that the old solutions that they are bad, but we actually have not really even tested them with the new risks. We just take granted that they will work, and it's a very complex topic. Has to do also with the lobbying and whatsoever, but we don't have time to wait long. We see that the world is developing. We are getting new risks. We are getting very complex buildings, and the occupation level is also increasing. So definitely we have to utilize new engineering methods, new technical solutions, and I think that's the main thing. Not to forget that if we are doing the industry interesting, then we will get also a lot of clever young engineers to further develop it. So then it would be a positive problem that we would get the ball rolling.
No, definitely. And you're right, the recruitment and the upskilling of the industry is something that we need to focus on collectively, making it an appealing industry, posing those challenges that we're doing, and getting those technological minds in. The new generations come with a whole different understanding of technology. Yeah, they're definitely the ones with the solution. And just finally, before we part, what message do you wish to convey to industries that still maybe are perhaps slightly hesitant about transitioning to water mist fire protection systems?
Well, I think I would definitely encourage, like I said, to give a try, and to explore also the different applications where water mist is being used. So it really fits very well to some of the application areas where typically gas systems are used. So and then it goes definitely very much to the sprinkling side. So the variety is very high, and just with a little bit of the Googling, I think everybody will find a number of different applications where water is being used in form of small droplets in many different applications. And I think many people, they will be surprised when they will see it. So in that sense, I think that would be the message. So study, learn, and then give a try.
Definitely. Well, thank you. Wise words to end on. Once again, I appreciate your time, Max, for taking the time to talk with us today. If anybody has any further questions, they can reach out to Max on the platform or via LinkedIn. And you can reach out to IWMA on the IWMA website. So please connect and get this conversation going and start your transition to water mist today. Thank you, Max.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.